हेलो फ्रेंड, मेरा नाम सत्यम कुमार फोटोशॉप एडिटर है। आप मेरे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करेंगे, आपको बहुत सारे फोटोशॉप ट्यूटोरियल मिलेंगे। थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग एंड सब्सक्राइब फॉर यूट्यूब चैनल।
Of course, and what we want to do is we want to isolate this black area here. We can of course create a selection around the black area to isolate it, but I like working with vectors better because they give you smaller file sizes and they're easier to edit. So we're going to create a vector around the frame. So I'm going to press Z on the keyboard. I'm going to do an isolate, I'm not letting go of it. So we're going to zoom in to the corner here and release the Z key. It'll bring me back to the pen tool, which I had selected. Make sure that you have shape on the options panel on this drop down. Click on one corner and click and drag to pan up. Double tap here on the zoom tool just so we can see the image at 100%. And actually, now that I'm looking at it at 100%, I'm actually going to right click on it and choose fit on screen so that I can see the entire composition. Then I'm going to press Control J, Command J on the Mac to duplicate. So now I have two copies. I'm going to disable the one on the top by clicking on this eye icon, and the one on the bottom here, I'm going to clip to the shape below it. So with that layer selected, I'm going to press Control Alt G, Command Option G on the Mac. Then I'm going to enable the layer right above that, and chain link icon here to link those two layers. What that allows you to do is when you move one of those layers with the move tool, it moves both. And they can be in different groups and they can be separated, so that allows us those two layers together. What I'm going to do now is press Control T, Command T to transform, to scale this and adjust it accordingly. If you can't see the corner handles, if you want to click and drag on, you can press Control 0, that's Command 0 on the Mac, for the bird's eye view that allows you to see all four corner handles. Then I'm going to click and drag on this one here to scale it down by holding Shift Alt, that's Shift Option on the Mac. Now at this point, we can go back and adjust the layer mask if we need to. So I'm going to zoom in just so we can see the areas that we need to work on. So we need to work on this area, an edge, and then maybe shift the edge with a negative value and see how that's adjusted. So we can keep adjusting it and making sure that that line is gone, but we don't lose any detail that we want to keep. Also, with this brush selected, I can click and drag here on the hair, and hopefully we'll get a better selection. So now I didn't do that good of a job here, so I'm just gonna leave it like this for now, and then I can come back with the brush tool and fix that in a moment. So I'm gonna press OK, click on the brush tool, paint with white in areas that I want to keep. So I'm just gonna paint with white in these areas here. And I know I'm selecting some of the sky, but that's okay. I'm going to get rid of that by pressing X on the keyboard, which swaps the foreground and background color. And with black, I'm going to paint on that layer mask to get rid of the sky here. Everything is masked out accordingly. And in most of these areas, everything seems to be okay. I know we got to work on this area here. And like I said, I'll do that after I'm done with the tutorial, and you can see my final result. But for now, we'll just leave it as it is. Look much more realistic and much more interesting. So from the Adobe stock library, I downloaded two elements we're going to use. We're going to use this shovel with the snow, so let me just double click on that to open that up. And by the way, the links to these files are on the description. You have to download them from Adobe stock. They're not free, but you can use a watermark preview to practice on. So I would recommend you doing that just so that you can have a way to practice and learn. So the first thing I gotta do is get rid of the shovel. I'm gonna click on the lasso tool. I'm gonna make a selection around the shovel. And as you can see, it's not very accurate. It's okay. Then I can hold Shift and Backspace. Or you can go into Edit, Fill to bring up the Fill menu. Under Contents, choose Content Aware and press OK. And Photoshop will fill in those pixels and make the shovel disappear. I'm going to press Ctrl D, Command D on the Mac to deselect. And this is what we're going to work with. The first thing that we need to do is mask out the snow from the ground. So I'm going to go into the Channels panel, and I'm going to look for the channel that's got the most contrast. In this case, the blue channel. I'm I'm going to click and drag currently my foreground color. To fill with the foreground color, you can hold Alt, Backspace, Option, Backspace on the Mac, then Control D, Command D on the Mac to deselect. Now we got to work on this bottom part. There's a feature in Photoshop called Apply Image. If you go into Image, Apply Image, what Apply Image allows you to do is to take an image and apply it onto itself using a blend mode. In this case, we're taking the blue copy, applying the screen blend mode onto itself. So notice what happens here on the snow on the edge. It essentially turns white, which is what we want. You could also, of course, apply a multiply blend mode and it'll give you a different result. In this case, I think I'm going to go with screen, and then I'll just work on the edges. And then there's the corner handles, and now I'm going to adjust them up. The angle's not really matching. Now that we have this file in place, I'm going to press Z on the keyboard, right click, fit to screen. Then I'm going to press V on the keyboard to get the move tool, and maybe I can move it around if I need to. And I'm going to click on the new group icon to create a new group. I'm going to click and drag this snow layer in there. I'm going to collapse it, and now it's in that group. Next, I'm going to hold Alt, Option on the Mac, and click on the layer mask icon to create a black layer mask which hides everything. Then, with the brush tool, I can paint transform, that's Command T on the Mac, Control 0, Command 0 on the Mac, and scale this one in as well, about here or so. But I want this one to be in the back, so I'm going to click and drag this one and place it way back here. And I'm going to press V to select the move tool, and I'm going to move it around just to fit it into position, so maybe something like this. And actually, I just realized that I made a mistake. Notice how this element gets cut up right in this area? That's because this element needs to be right here. It needs to be in between the layer that's popping out of the subject and the layer that is clipped to the vector. So right in between those two. So now the snow follows through into the frame. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to work with shadows. So first of all, the snow here in the table, it needs a shadow. So I'm going to open up this group. Double click on the snow layer here and click on drop shadow. Notice a little drop shadow there. You can use the settings that I have here if you like. Notice that I'm not using black, I'm using a dark burgundy color, which is similar to that color you see right there, right under the frame. And just brought the intensity down to about 25% using a better perspective. And I'm going to click on the new group icon to create a new group. I'm going to click and drag this snow layer in there. I'm going to collapse it, and now it's in that group. Next, I'm going to hold Alt, Option on the Mac, and click on the layer mask icon to create a black layer mask which hides everything. Then, with the brush tool, I can paint with white the size of my brush. So I'm just painting with white, just bringing in some of that snow. And I'm gonna open up this file here, which is these snow elements that were also downloaded from Adobe Stock. By the way, if you don't have Photoshop CC, you won't have the libraries panel, but you can still download the watermark previews onto your desktop and bring them into Photoshop as you would any other image. So you can still work with the previews. So what I'm going to do now is just select one of these elements and bring it over to the file that I'm working with. So I'm going to click on the lasso tool and I'm going to select this element first. So I'm going to select it, go to edit and copy, or you can press Ctrl C. I'm going to deselect that element, Ctrl D, Command D on the Mac. Go back into the file that we're working with. I'm going to paste it here. Control V, Command V on the Mac, and there it is. As you can see, if you want to click on this panel, you can go into Window, Properties. Click on Mask Edge, and then maybe shift the edge with a negative value, and see how that's adjusted. So, and keep adjusting it and making sure that that line is gone, but we don't lose any detail that we want to keep. Also, with this brush selected, I can click and drag here on the hair, and hopefully we'll get a better selection. So now it didn't do that good of a job here, so I'm just gonna leave it like this for now, and then I can come back with the brush tool and fix that in a So I'm gonna press OK, click on the brush tool, paint with white in areas that I want to keep. So I'm just gonna paint with white in these areas here. And I know I'm selecting some of the sky, but that's okay. I'm gonna get rid of that by pressing X on the keyboard, which swaps the foreground and background color. And with black, I'm gonna paint on that layer mask to get rid of the sky here. Everything is masked out accordingly. And in most of these areas, everything seems to be okay. I know we gotta work on this area here. And like I said, I'll do that after I'm done with the tutorial and you can see my final result. But for now, we'll just leave it as is. I'm gonna press Z on the keyboard, right click, and choose Fit to Screen. And what we're gonna work on now is extra elements that are gonna help our composite look much more realistic and much more interesting. So from the Adobe stock library, I downloaded 2 elements we're gonna use. We're gonna use this shovel with the snow, so let me just double click on that to open that up. And by the way, the links to these files are on the description. You have to download them from Adobe stock. They're not free, but you can use a watermark preview to practice on. So I would recommend you doing that just so that you can have a way to practice and learn. So the first thing I gotta do is get rid of the shovel. I'm gonna click on the lasso tool. I'm gonna make a selection around the shovel. And as you can see, it's not very accurate. It's okay. Then I can hold Shift and Backspace, or you can go into